And welcome back to SWBA Today. This is your host, Rico. And in today's show, we're going to be looking at the SWBA scoreboard and recapping the games that took place last night and the key storylines from those games. We're also going to be looking at SWBA draft prospect Glory Tate. We're going to be talking about should he be drafted higher. We're going to be putting on our GM cap. So I promise you, you're going to want to stick around for that segment. And lastly, we are looking at future SWBA prospect Alex Rodriguez. I think that he has done a tremendous job in year one, and I really think that he is a player that certainly is going to be a future SWBA prospect. And so let's go ahead and jump into the first segment here, and that is the SWBA scoreboard. We had 10 games in total, and man, we had some pretty good storylines here. And so let's start with the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Phoenix Suns. And so the key takeaway out of this game is that the Cleveland Cavaliers lose 4 straight games now. That is a season high for them. And Donovan Mitchell only has 7 points in this game, really struggled out there. He was -9 in the plus-minus box score. He had 3 assists and 4 rebounds. And then on the other side, Phoenix Suns, Kevin Durant, he had a tremendous game. He had 42 points in this game. This is the second time this season that he has scored 40 points. And he did this on 17 of 29 shooting. He was 4 of 9 from deep. He was 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He was +7 in the plus-minus box score. He also had 8 assists and 6 rebounds. And, you know, the Phoenix Suns had a really good bench showing. They had Royce O'Neal, who had 15 points off the bench, and Tyrus Jones had 16 points off the bench. But more importantly for the Phoenix Suns, this is the 3rd straight game that they have won. So this is huge for them as we continue to really get into money time, I'd say right now, for the SWBA season, because we are under a month to go until we get to the playoffs. And so next up, the next game here is the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Los Angeles Clippers. This was all about the Clippers as they win 128-108. And the key takeaway here is that Kawhi Leonard had a very good game of 23 points. He had 4 assists. He had 10 rebounds. He was +16. Zubac had 17 and 10. He was +23. And then James Harden, look, he had 30 points. He had 9 assists. He also had 2 steals, so he had a very good game. And Norman Powell has been great for the Clippers, coming back and adding 14. He was also +20 from the plus-minus box score. And so the Clippers getting healthy at the right time, playing some good basketball. And for the Memphis Grizzlies, look, this is all about the injury, I think, of Ja Morant. He's out with a hamstring. And I've said this before, if you do not have Ja Morant, then the Memphis Grizzlies are really in trouble. They need to have Ja Morant out there. Let's see if he can get back to help this team get into some rhythm, because they certainly are going to need him as this season goes along. And so next up, we have the Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trailblazers. And so look, the Portland Trailblazers win this game 128-109. This was the 3rd game without the Joker for Denver. And so look, I think that the key takeaway here is that the Portland Trailblazers have played very well. I think that one of the players that's probably one of the hottest players in all of SWBA is Denny Avia. I think that he's played incredible. He had 36 points. He was +27 in the plus-minus box score. He had 3 steals. He had 7 assists, 8 rebounds in this one. And man, he 12 of 16 from the field, 4 of 6 from downtown. He was 8 of 9 from the field. I mean, he played spectacular for Portland, and he's done this really, I think, throughout his time here this last portion of the season. You have Shaedon Sharpe. He's playing extremely well. He had 23 points in this one. He was +21. And Scoot Henderson, 16 points and 4 assists. And so, look, Chauncey Billups, he's got a competitive group out here. The Portland Trailblazers give Denver the business, and I think that the key takeaway here is that they got a very good contribution from Aaron Gordon. He played very well. He had 23 points in this one. He had 4 assists and 3 rebounds, and you also had some pretty good efforts across the board. Michael Porter Jr. had 17 and 5. But look, the Denver Nuggets, man, they have got to figure something out. Jamal Murray, only 10 points. He was -16 in the plus-minus box score and 4 rebounds. I mean, he has got to get back to the level that he was at just about 2 or 3 seasons ago. And so next up, you got the Houston Rockets versus the Miami Heat. And so this was all about the Houston Rockets, man. They continue to keep it rolling. They win 102-98. And man, this was all about Fred VanVleet. I mean, he was on fire, man. He had 37 points in this one. He was 9 of 11 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. He was +2. They got Amin Thompson back. He had 18, 5 assists, and 9 rebounds as well. And so, look, Houston continues to keep it rolling. VanVleet, man, he could not miss out there. He had 25 points in the second half, and he was 5 of 5. And so a good one for the Houston Rockets, a tough one for the Miami Heat, even though that they got a very good contribution here from Andrew Wiggins. He actually scored 20 points in the second quarter, but he only finished with 30. So he had 30 points and he was +4, 8 of 9 from the free throw line, but man, just wasn't enough. And so next up, Hornets versus OKC. And so look, this was all about OKC. It's all about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's all about just how incredible this team has been. And look, they took care of business 141-106. And I just feel like, man, the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein has been critical for this team. He's done a great job as far as not only assisting at the top of the key in their offense, but he's been terrific at just getting to the boards. In this one, he had 12 points and he also had 10 rebounds. Chet Holmgren, he had 14 and 5. And so it's good to see that he is back. Shai Gilgeous is just, you can pencil him in for 30 points. He had 30 in this one. He was +31 in the plus-minus box score with 9 assists. Again, the OKC just rested numerous players in this one, but they still take care of business. And so next up, Philadelphia versus San Antonio. And so look, the key out of this is that Quentin Grimes, he is absolutely balling right now. He is right behind, I would say, Danny Avia as far as the better players that are playing at a high level. And look, they lose in this game to the Spurs 128-120, but I think that he's certainly a storyline. Like I said, he's been playing extremely well. But for the Spurs, look, they have got a lot of young talent that is really starting to put it together. You had Stephon Castle, who had 17 points in this and 14 assists. He was +20. I really think he's trending towards being, I think, the rookie of the year. Chris Paul adding that veteran leadership for this team. And so, look, I like where the San Antonio Spurs are going as far as where they are with their growth of the team. The Celtics and the Jazz. Look, the Celtics take care of the Jazz 121-99 in this one. And this was all about the Celtics and just, look, they're looking to continue to stay healthy. I think that is the key for them. They played with Al Horford in the starting lineup in this particular game. Jaylen Brown was out due to a bone bruise. From what I see, it looks like he's at least out for 2 games. And it's all about Porzingis. It's all about him staying healthy. He looked good in this particular game along with Jason Tatum. And the Utah Jazz, man, they are in a situation where they are just really trying to rebuild things out. Detroit versus the Dallas Mavericks. And so in this game, the Dallas Mavericks win 123-117. And this was a gutsy win for the Dallas Mavericks. I think that they were led a lot here by P.J. Washington, who had 27 points. You also had Spencer Dinwiddie, who had 31 in this as well. And this is a team that's looking to get healthy again. Hopefully they get some good news back here in the next week or so and get Anthony Davis back. So that is one of the players that is slated to head back. Still, I think the Detroit Pistons are probably one of the better stories in the SWBA Eastern Conference here. And Cade Cunningham, he's certainly been spectacular. He had 35 in this, 6 assists and 7 rebounds, but the Pistons come up short in this particular game. And lastly, we had the Orlando Magic versus the Washington Wizards. And so the Orlando Magic take care of the Washington Wizards 120-105. And Paolo Banchero had a very nice game in this one, 30 points. He also had 8 assists and 8 rebounds and 5 assists in this. Franz Wagner, 21 and 8 for him. And then for the Washington Wizards, look, it is all about these young guys playing. You had Keyshawn George, who played some heavy minutes. Alex Sarr had 19. Jordan Poole still over there. And so it's all about these guys building themselves up. And so a tough loss for the Wizards, but that wraps up the SWBA scoreboard. And so now I wanted to go ahead and break into the next portion of the show. And we're talking about Glory Tate. And, recently, Kentucky just got a huge win, I believe last night here against South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. So a nationally televised game there, or that was one of the things that was nationally talked about, I should say. And look, this is a team that is fifth in the country, and so they are all over the television set, especially since he plays with, and I'm talking about Glory Tate, he plays with Jamison Johnson, who a lot of people feel like he might be the first pick of the draft. Some people feel like he could be the second pick, the third pick. I mean, it just depends on what mock draft you're looking at. Depends on, I guess, how these folks who are writing these up feel that particular day. But here's the question with Glory Tate and just his draft prospect. First and foremost is, should he be drafted higher? And so at 6'5", 220, a junior, small forward, he's averaging 14.6 points a game. He's getting a 2.7 assists a game on 53.7 from the field and 44.6 from three. And so putting up some great numbers thus far. And he only put up 7 points in last night's games, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 1 of 1 from downtown and 2 of 3, just from the field in their win, 81-54. And so the intangibles and the things that he does well, look, he's great at defense. He's terrific as a ball handler. He's a great jump shooter. He's terrific in his shot creation, and he's obsessed with getting better. I mean, I think that is what you absolutely love about him, obsessed about getting better. And he's very calm. He's super optimistic out there on the floor. So I think it suggests that he probably will be a natural leader at the next level, which I think is something that you always want. But here's the thing with Glory Tate. He plays with Jamison Johnson. And so you have to ask yourself, how good can he really be? And this is where we put on our GM hat. And look, we're looking at the best available or the best talent when it comes down to it. And so these things, they are similar, but they are very different. And so if I'm a GM, okay, and I have the chance to pick a little bit higher, when we're talking about best available, we're asking ourselves, okay, but is this player ready to contribute right now when we're saying best available? Or is he a best talent, meaning he has the potential and he has great physical tools, but needs to develop his game, and that is where you're really banking on the upside. And so if I am drafting right now, I am going to say that for me, I think that Glory Tate is the best talent. I'm not sure that he's necessarily the best available. And now it's not a knock on Glory Tate, because here's what I would say. There's a lot of players right now that are just, they're physically gifted. They're great players. We know that. But what separates, I think, great players at the SWBA level, it is going to be the intangibles, okay? And this is why I think that Glory Tate, to me, from that standpoint, he is a guy that I am just betting on as far as just maybe being one of the better talents in this upcoming draft. Because when you're looking at intangibles and what that exactly means, we're talking about the mental toughness in the game. We're talking about the hustle. We're talking about being clutch. We're talking about the work ethic. We're talking about the chemistry, the leadership, which I just talked about. These are things that players that come in that are physically gifted, they don't necessarily have that. And what I like about Glory Tate is he does have he's high on the intangible list. In fact, some of the scouts and people that talk about him is just that it's his intangibles. It's the things that are not measurable that you love about him. And at 6'5", look, I'm not sure what his wingspan is going to look like. I'm not sure how much, he's going to look as far as like quickness is concerned on the court. I know he does have a track and field background, but he's not necessarily the quickest player. You can certainly develop that, but I know, a lot of this stuff, we're going to find out a lot more once he gets to the SWBA combine. But I just think that being the best talent, I kind of bet on those type of players, because I feel like that those are the players that they have these things that you just can't measure, that I feel like that they just dig in just that much more. And this is not to knock against these players that come in that are just physically gifted. But when you get to the SWBA level, everybody is really, really good. It's going to be the ones that really lock in on the intangibles that are the ones that stick around. Those are the ones that make it to the next contract. Those are the ones that maybe become impact players. And I like the fact that, look, his ceiling, maybe it looks like he has to reach a little bit higher to get to it. Some of these players that are coming in that maybe they're the best available, they might be already at the ceiling. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you think here about that. Do you think that Glory Tate is a player that is the best available, or do you think he's more like a best talent type of player? So I'd love to hear what you're thinking there from a GM standpoint. So next up, I wanted to go ahead and talk about just future prospects here. And so we are looking at now Alex Rodriguez. And so I shouldn't say prospect or prospects, but prospects. And so future prospect in Alex Rodriguez. And so with Alex Rodriguez, got a chance to call his game. And man, he's been a spectacular talent. I know we talk about Justin Bell and just how special he has been as a freshman. And I think that with Alex Rodriguez, man, he is showing me a lot of things that I think will really translate at the next level. And I know that, look, if they ever change the rule and players are able to come out early, I think that he could really make that type of the jump. And what I love most about him is just, man, he might be one of the more crafty players that I've personally seen. I think that he is very just kind of slithery with his dribble combinations and things like that. And that leads to just beautiful shot creation. I think he has the ability to really catch defenders off guard. And then I really love the fact that, man, he gets his base squared up and looking at the rim. So he has a very good base on his jump shot, and he's a smooth shooter. So he can shoot it from deep. He can shoot it from anywhere on the floor. He has very good touch. And you have got to love the fact that, look, he's already coming in pretty decorated because he was the Canadian Player of the Year, and he was a McDonald All-American as well. And so this is a guy that is familiar with the spotlight. And I think that he's going to be huge for Marquette as they continue to build out their program. I think that he was heavily relied upon a lot on this year thus far. I think it is going to be interesting to see what happens as the year finishes out. But at 6'6", 215 as a freshman, I'd have to think that, man, maybe he's still going to grow a little bit more. I'm curious to see what his wingspan is going to look like. And look, at 11.4 points a game, that's second on the team. 3.3 rebounds a game, that's tied for fourth. But what he does well with that crafty dribble and handle is he has the ability to get to the free throw line. He's already gotten there 34 times and leads the team. And so you love that. And when you're talking about why you love that, we just talked about Jimmy Butler. What does Jimmy Butler do well? He gets to the free throw line. And so these are little things like that that you've got to be taking a look at if you're a scout, if he can continue to build upon things like that. And so anyway, another thing here, lastly, about him, and last two things that I think you really love and why you think that he certainly can be an SWBA player one of these days is that he plays from an underdog standpoint. I love the fact that even though he's accomplished so much, he plays so hard, and he plays as if he doesn't have that. And I love that. These are intangibles that you just can't really teach players. And so I love the fact that he has that it factor and he's going to go out and go get it. And then you love the fact too that, look, in the media, right, when you go to ask him a question, he is one that is very loyal. He is going to tell you the truth. It may not sound the greatest, but he's the type of guy that is going to tell you exactly how it is. It's probably going to maybe ruffle some feathers a little bit, but you need that sometimes, especially when you're looking for your leaders out there. I think of players like, the Draymond Greens and players like that, look, they tell you some things. And it may kind of hurt the feelings a little bit, but it's all in trying to get you to become the better player out there. And so you love that when you're talking about competing and trying to get better. And so anyway, let me know in the comments here what you're thinking. Do you think that, yes, Alex Rodriguez is certainly a player that is going to make it here to the SWBA as he continues to trend up? What do you think here about Glory Tate? And just as far as if you're putting on your GM hat here, is he the best available? Is he the best talent? I'd love to hear what you're thinking there. And lastly, what is the biggest storyline from last night's game? I think that, or games, I should say, because I think that there's a lot of good stuff here. One of the things that we forgot to mention as well is that with the Minnesota Timberwolves game, Meant to add that they won against the Pelicans 134-93. And I think really the biggest key takeaway out of all of that was that Joe Ingles got a chance to start in front of his son. Make sure that you go ahead and look that up. That is a great story. And that was a great move from Coach Finch and the Minnesota Timberwolves, man. So make sure you check that out. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you are thinking. And as we always say, see the game, be the game. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.